I never anticipated revealing this yet. There I stand emboldened to disclose the most clandestine, illicit, and intricate night of my existence that day. The day when everything transformed. I initially believed it was merely about not spending my 64th birthday in solitude, although Edward's motivation to keep me company encompassed much more the attraction between us. Those illicit emotions, and all that we had repressed for years, could never be entirely disregarded. That day was the culmination of everything. Allow me to recount the entire narrative from the outset. Edward was the stepson of Jonathan at 28. He exudes confidence, determination, and possesses an immediate captivating presence in the year of Jonathan's demise. He frequently visited, occasionally, residing with me for many days. However, 2 years prior, he vanished. Without a trace in his absence, the times we shared were confined to the most profound recesses of my memory. I endeavored to erase him from my thoughts and suppress those memories, although I was unsuccessful. Then, that day arrived, he manifested at Mithershold. He stated that he needed access to certain documents in the garage. Although I instantly saw that his visit was not just for that purpose, Edward's gaze remained unchanged, evoking the emotions I had long suppressed, rendering me completely unprepared. Upon his smile while grasping several papers, I understood that this visit held further significance. I was correct. The gramophone he had positioned in the garage, the one I had always desired even during Jonathan's lifetime, was present with my preferred record on it. The document served merely as a pretext. This pertains solely to me upon seeing that phonograph. My heart felt as though it might explode from my chest subsequently. Edward departed, with minimal communication. However, that evening he returned with a cake in his possession. The classic smile remained. However, it now conveyed a deeper significance. He stated, "I did not wish for you to spend your 64th birthday in solitude." Bella, I soon recognized that this was far more than merely a birthday. Party Edward was poised to provide me with an unprecedented evening. That evening, everything transformed. Now I will provide you with every information. Upon opening the door and encountering Edward, I was unprepared. For the sight before me, this was not merely a casual visit. I perceived it. Immediately he was holding a fragile cake and attired in a tailored suit, the smile on his face, more distinct, more significant, and more passionate. At 28, Edward had a maturity that harmonized with his youthful vigor, rendering him irresistibly fascinating. "Happy birthday, Bella," he proclaimed, his voice sufficiently warm to resonate around the entire entryway. His remarks astonished me and evoked an ineffable sensation within my chest. For the first time, he remembered my birthday and celebrated it with such thoughtfulness. He expressed his desire not to allow you to celebrate your 64th birthday. In alone, his captivating smile, widening this evening, ought to be exceptional. If this narrative resonates with you, please join my channel. Subscribe and activate notifications to receive other confessions of this nature. Believe me, this will be one of the most exhilarating narratives you have ever encountered. I intended to express something, but the words became lodged in my throat. Edward positioned the cake on the coffee table and approached me. "However, Bella," he remarked, his gaze examining me tenderly, "this evening has the potential to be significantly more extraordinary. Let us commemorate it appropriately in a manner befitting you. Don a beautiful dress and let us create an unforgettable evening." Initially, I contemplated declining, but his soft yet persistent look rendered it unfeasible. I inclined my head slightly and ascended the steps. As I ascended the steps, an unusual exhilaration surged within me upon opening my wardrobe. I noticed the black dress that I had not worn in years. I brushed my fingers against the fabric and approached them. Prior to donning the dress, removed my t-shirt. Standing unclothed before my mirror, my skin remained taut and young. I outlined my waist with my hands, bent slightly forward, and examined my shoulders. I am undeniably captivating. I whispered to myself at 64 years of age. I appeared to have transcended the effects of aging with a smile. I donned the outfit, experiencing a profound sense of uniqueness in that moment. As I ascended the staircase, a recognizable song emanated from the living room, reaching my auditory senses. It was my preferred tune. My pace diminished, and my heart commenced to race. How did Edward acquire this knowledge I had never disclosed it to him? Perplexed yet fascinated, I proceeded to the living room. Edward positioned the gramophone centrally in the room and meticulously selected the record to play upon. Seeing me, his eyes illuminated. The expression of adoration on his face conveyed much despite his insolence. "What was your source of knowledge?" I inquired, unable to conceal my astonishment. Edward smiled gently, his eye steadfast. He stated, "I have listened to you, Bella. You may have believed you were the sole listener, although in reality I was the one attentively listening to you. I recalled every detail you said, and every passion you expressed." His comments imbued me with warmth. It had been an extended period since I had experienced genuine recognition and understanding. Edward approached, extending his hand towards Millet. "This evening be entirely devoted to you, Bella. I'm here to make you feel exceptional." As the tune permeated the room, I could not overlook the intensity and resolve reflected in his eyes. We commenced a dialogue. However, it was not a conventional exchange. It was imbued with the emotions we had repressed. For an extended period, the attraction between us intensified. With each passing second, Edward's voice resonated through the atmosphere, profound and laden with emotion. "Are you aware of the reason I did not return earlier, Bella?" His inquiry surprised me, and my eyes fixed on his emerald stare, attempting to discern the direction of the conversation. He hesitated briefly, as though meticulously choosing his words. He finally confessed, his voice mild yet resonant enough to fill the room, that he'd always been attracted to her. "I observed the yearning, the fervor, the enthusiasm within you. I consistently observed it. However, what I experienced instilled fear in me. Bella, I realized I could not endure your presence. My body yearned to approach you, however my head insisted it was inappropriate." His comments elicited a surge of warmth within me, accompanied by a tunnel of perplexity. My heart started to race uncontrollably, yet I understood the necessity of maintaining my composure. Inhaling deeply, I gazed at him. "Edward, you ought not to express this," I responded, although the quiver in my voice revealed my sentiments. "I am aware that I ought not to," he remarked, bowing his head slightly. However, he lifted his sight to meet mine once more, and the intense eye of his saint mobilized me. However, I can no longer contain it. "Bella, I have been unable to remove you from my thoughts for 2 years. Your eyes, your smile, every aspect of you has tormented me wherever I traveled. I observed you. My heart would not permit me to forget." His candid confession both astonished and profoundly exhilarated me. My hands were firmly clutched in my lap, and I recognized they were quivering. "Edward, this is inappropriate," I stated, although I could not refute the compelling attraction I experienced towards him. "The bond we shared it is incorrect." Edward inclined slightly forward, bending his knees while seated, and tipping toward me. His eyes exhibited profound intent. "Whether correct or incorrect," he stated, his tone subdued yet determined, "I cannot refute my emotions, nor can you, Bella. Your eyes convey all that I need to know. This bond between us is genuine." I was momentarily speechless because he was correct. The tension between us Hasselways existed, a connection I attempted to disregard for years. Emotions I was reluctant to recognize, yet they have intensified, drawing me in increasingly at present. His glance and words reverberated within me. "I appreciate your presence that day." I eventually articulated, my voice strained with passion. However, Edward, this situation is perilous. If we proceed, neither of us will be able to retreat. Edward gradually extended his hand, positioning his fingers atop mine, his touch dismantled. Every rational barrier I had constructed. I do not wish to retreat. Bella, he stated, I desire to experience this moment with you, to express my feelings and to convey your significance. To me, emotions surged within me. Yet they did not incapacitate me. They liberated an inner essence. His statements constituted a confession of a fervor he had repressed for an extended period. As I see you, he said, his voice gentle yet fervent, I perceive not merely beauty. I discern power, passion, and a zest for life. You may believe you are 64, yet to me you have perpetually embodied the essence of youth and allure, and those sentiments will remain unaltered. His remarks dismantled the last of my resistance. I inhaled deeply and gazed at him. Edward, I stated, my voice quivering yet inclining towards him, you perceive me in a manner I have not experienced in years, and I cannot refute that the ensuing stillness was profound, yet it conveyed everything. We merely exchanged glances, and in that silence, every unarticulated truth was disclosed. The illicit attraction between us had become evident and irreversible. Upon meeting Edward Gaziel, my repressed emotions surged forward. His kiss was imbued with a fervor that compelled me to confront the emotions I'd concealed for years. Yet the intensity also instilled fear in me. The rational aspect of my mind continued to resist, asserting that I ought not to. Aquas abruptly, I withdrew, inhaling deeply. I muttered, Edward. My voice quavering, I was uncertain about what I wished to articulate, ensnared by his gaze. I sensed my control waning, my pulse raced as I retreated, seeking distance between us, and without uttering another word. I hastened to my bedroom. Upon closing the door, I turned to confront the mirror. My cheeks were crimson, and my eyes were filled with exhilaration and bewilderment. My hands continued to tremble slightly. What actions am I now undertaking? I murmured to myself, although within an insistent voice. Persisted, propelled by an intense yearning. I examined the mirror intently, scrutinizing the subtle creases on my face, indicative of aging. Yet my gaze descended to my still-taut youthful physique. I still possess it. I muttered, a subtle ambivalent smile emerging on my lips. Nevertheless, that revelation simply exacerbated the complexity of the situation. At that moment, I perceived the gentle creak of the door. I turned and observed Edward's resolute gaze as he entered. He maintained his gaze on me, as shut the door behind him, and approached Bella. He stated, his tone subdued yet determined, I cannot permit you to escape. I gazed at him, however, I was unable to articulate anything. Edward bridged the gap between us, and once more his lips met mine. This kiss intensified our emotions, drawing me deeper into an uncontrollable realm. My defenses were deteriorating. Sequentially, I could no longer restrain myself. My hands reflexively grasped his shoulders. Edward encircled my waist, drawing me nearer. His warmth filled my entire being, and my respiration accelerated. His kisses descended from my lips to my neck, and subsequently to my shoulders. My body unreservedly reacted to his every caress. However, the fervor of this illicit yearning utterly engulfed me. I retreated slightly, not to flee, but to regain my breath. Gradually, I grasped the straps of my dress, easing them off my shoulders. The fabric descended quietly to the ground, accumulating. At my feet, I briefly observed my reflection in the mirror and experienced a burst of boldness within me. I muttered, Edward, my voice almost discernible. I am yielding to you. Those words ignited a spark in his eyes, a blaze that was inescapable. Edward commenced, unbuttoning his shirt, his fingers operating swiftly, nearly with impatience as he shrugged it off, exposing his robust muscular physique. My heart beat even more rapidly. As I observed him advance, I felt an irresistible pull toward him. Edward, positioned, his hands on my waist once more directing me softly toward the bed upon reclining. He accompanied me, his presence permeating the surrounding space. His kisses commenced at my neck, descended to my shoulders, and continued, deeper, examining every aspect of my being. With each touch he evoked feelings and passions that had long been suppressed within me. This moment marked the inception of an unimaginable night, and I was certain that nothing would remain unchanged. Thereafter, the rapidity of events made me heart feel as though it may explode. From my chest I gazed at Edward, unable to conceal my bewilderment and profound longing. I could never have envisioned this, I remarked. Breathless at this moment, I desire this. Over all else, I am exhilarated and filled. With fervor, Edward inclined his head slightly, a gentle yet resolute smile emerging on his lips. Bella, he said, his tone serene yet profoundly enchanting, immobilizing me. We have consistently desired this, although we've evaded it repeatedly. However, this evening we shall not flee at that moment. Edward's remarks dismantled their remainder of my barricades. I was indifferent to the destination of this night. I was prepared to immerse myself in the experience. An overwhelming force surged within me, so potent that I closed my eyes and grasped the sheet with one hand and the edge of the bedside table with the other. The intensity rendered me breathless. My eyes closed for 2 to 3 minutes as I endeavored to concentrate solely on my sensations. Upon finally opening my eyes and gazing at the ceiling, I found Edward leaning over me. His hair was unkempt, and his forehead shimmered subtly with perspiration. As I contemplated this ideal, Edward extended his hand and placed it over mine on the bed. All sensations appeared dreamlike simultaneously, strange and lively upon observing our reflection in the mirror. I could no longer restrain myself. My legs stiffened with an unbelievable intensity, felt as though I could lose consciousness. This was an unprecedented need and passion, and I was completely astonished by my own responses. Then there was Edward, so stunning that I could not believe he was real. His cheeks were crimson, and he was lavishing me with compliments. My voice quivered as I murmured, Edward, you are remarkable. I sincerely wish for this night to persist indefinitely. I observed the joy in his eyes intensifying with my other hand. I extended it and positioned it over his chest, sensing the swift pulsation of his heart. I have always desired you, I said, not believing my own words. I am astonished that this is occurring. I shut my eyes once more, yielding to the warmth enveloping me at that precise instant. An overwhelming heat enveloped my entire being. Edward, his breathing irregular, fell beside me. Edward sat upright, his face reflecting determination, and extended his hand toward his phone. He faced me and unlocked the screen using his fingertips. Bella, I wish to present something to you, he stated upon his turning the phone towards me. My eyes immediately widened. The image depicted a cottage adjacent to the lake, a compact, comfortable, and tranquil location. The type of location I have always envisioned. I wish to bring you here, he stated, his tone simultaneously earnest and imbued with longing, isolated from the others in this residence. Merely the two of us, we will visit this location. Tomorrow morning upon our arrival, I will request that you don an outfit of my selection, as this evening I encountered the woman of my dreams. The woman in question is you, Bella. It has consistently been you. His words ignited a tempest within me, causing my heart to rise. I gazed at him utterly speechless. This was not merely a transient narrative. This served as an entrance to something significantly greater. Although I was unaware of what lay beyond that door, I felt no fear for the first time, as I was not traversing it alone. This is merely the inception, with further developments anticipated. If you have reached this point, it is evident that this narrative has profoundly affected you. There is far more to convey, and you will not wish to overlook any information. Remember to click the follow button. activate notifications, and provide a comment regarding this narrative. I eagerly anticipate your insights. Best let us engage in discussion in the comments section. Your assistance is invaluable to me.